Hi everyone, it's Meredith with Soul Navigation, and I'm so excited today to talk all about Cancer moons. If you are a Cancer moon, this video is going to be so good for you to watch. Everyone who has a Cancer moon needs to watch this video. However, I also want to say that this is for Cancer risings and Cancer sun signs, anybody who has a lot of personal planets inside of Cancer. That's Mercury, Mars, or Venus, or if you have a packed out fourth house, that means 3 or more planets, and one of those planets has to be a personal planet in the fourth house. I also want to say wherever you have Cancer in your chart, and every single soul on this planet has Cancer in their chart somewhere. So what house is your Cancer sun sign in? Because that's the place in your chart that I am talking to and referring to when I talk about Cancer moon placement now. Even if you don't have your moon there, if you've got the sign of Cancer in your chart with no planets in it, like I do, whatever the meaning of that particular house is, that is where you are going to have these characteristics. So you don't want to miss this video. I also want to tell you one other thing. I've got a big secret that most people don't talk about. Most astrologers don't even mention it. And I'm going to give that to you at the very, very end. And it's going to show you a little different way to think about the Cancerian part in your chart, and also it's going to give you a little different spin or twist on how to understand your Cancer moon or your Cancer sun sign a little bit more deeply. This is going to be a pretty deep video, so let's dive in. So why is the Cancer moon so extraordinary? Why is this moon sign so ridiculously remarkable and special? Why do I love Cancer moon signs? I probably could talk about this Cancer moon sign for hours, probably 8 hours straight, and I don't have that much time to do so in this video, but I'm going to give you all the juicy tidbits, and I'm going to give you the raw, the gritty, and the real deal, like I always do. So you guys already know that the moon in the chart is your critical heartbeat. It is your deepest emotional needs. And if you want to understand what the moon really means, go watch my Aries moon video or my Taurus moon video for the first couple of minutes, because I go deep into the meaning of the moon in your chart. We usually hide our moon, and only very few people do we allow them to see it. I'm telling you, you cannot understand your soul's blueprint on Earth in this lifetime, or your natal chart. That's basically your soul's blueprint, without knowing your moon sign. Now, not only do you need to know your moon sign, you need to understand what house your moon is in and what aspect your moon makes to both the sun and the rising, and then the other planets, to really understand the deep layers. There's like 150 layers to your moon sign. So in this video, I'm only talking about one of the multiple layers. The moon is the most comfortable in the sign of Cancer. It is exalted there, but it doesn't mean it's easier there, okay? The sign placement does not describe the ease of the moon, the aspect placement. So the aspects to the moon will tell you if it's an easy placement or a difficult placement. You know that the sign of Cancer is naturally ruled by the moon, and I hope by now, if you're watching this video, you have watched my entire Cancer playlist. It's one of my very best playlists on my channel, and my Cancers seem to have really appreciated my Cancerian work. And if you agree with me and you've seen my other videos, please leave a comment below and let me know if you have enjoyed my Cancer playlist. I really want to know. I want to know if you feel like my Cancer videos are accurate. The sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon, so this makes it a very snug and comfortable fit. It makes it comfy, but it is also, however, I think the most sensitive placement for the moon. I mean, I would argue that maybe Pisces could be a touch more sensitive. In truth, I would say these two are probably tied for the most sensitive placement for a moon sign. So when I see Cancer moon in the chart, no matter what sun sign you have, even if you are an Aquarius or a Gemini or a Sagittarius, I know that I'm dealing with an extraordinarily sensitive person. I know that the emotions and the sensitivities have been amplified in this soul. So if you're involved with a Cancer moon sign person, you are working with emotions, in amplification, the surround sound system of emotions, and it's on loud volume. If you have a Cancerian moon person in your life, or you are a Cancer moon, or if you have those other placements, you are dealing with an extraordinarily sensitive soul. But I want to be a little bit clear about this word, because a lot of people interpret the word sensitive as bad or weak or wimpy, or oftentimes this is a derogatory statement and they see it as a negative. But it really actually just means that they are acutely aware of the thoughts and feelings and the energy of all living creatures. And because of this sensitivity, they can merge so deeply with other people. And that is part of their mission. And we're going to go into all of that in a moment. First, I want to invite you guys to please subscribe and like and share my videos with anybody. I'm trying to get to 80,000 subscribers. It is so helpful to me when you subscribe to my channel, and I always promise to bring you a little deeper content every single Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Also, if you're not already a member of my channel, please consider becoming a super supporter or a superstar supporter, and you will get to come to my master classes. You can learn all about it in the notes section below. So one thing I want to tell you is that Cancerian moon signs are a little bit more sensitive than Cancer sun signs, and that might be because the moon is feminine energy and the sun is masculine energy. Feminine energy goes in, it is receptive and it introverts, and masculine energy goes outward and it is goal-oriented and it produces. Cancer moon sign people are born, they are literally born when they take their first breath with an ability to give and to nurture others. And they also have a deep gift to heal other people through the power of love. You know, while Scorpios help others heal through transformation, and Pisces helps heal others through a divine contract of acceptance, Cancers do their healing work with having the ability to align with another person, connect deeply with the other person's needs, animals too, merge with them, love them, and nurture them back to life. They are phenomenal healers. They can actually feel like home for others to curl up to. And they are so ferociously protective that when a Cancer moon sign person is protecting you, you feel loved. But they also need to have a home that nurtures them. And they can be great home bodies too. You know, like they might want to entertain in their own home more than going out and about. Home is their haven. It's their heaven. So the strongest value system inside of them is probably family. Family is so critical to them. Cancer is the embodiment of the mother archetype. Even if you're a man, you probably have a deep capacity to love and to love others, and to create the concept of family very easily. But on the shadow side, Cancer can do this so well that they even lose their own identity in caring for their family or their loved ones. For example, one of the best examples of this is Liza Minnelli and Judy Garland. Judy Garland was Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, as most of you probably know. Hollywood basically got her addicted to pills. Speed, uppers, so she could stay up and get up and work long hours, and then downers so she would go to sleep and get enough sleep quick and fast. She had no life. Hollywood basically owned her. She was the star of Hollywood. And so at 16 years old, she got addicted to pills because of her work. It's really sad. And then alcohol took a hold of her. And Liza Minnelli cared for her and took care of her and was tormented and tortured by her uber famous mother. And they just had total enmeshment, and it was just really sad. But there's usually some sort of deep connection, for good or for bad, with mom. I'll go into it a little bit more later. But if you guys have not seen the movie Judy with Renee Zellweger in it, I think she won Best Actress for that role. It was so transformative. It was out of this world. I think everything that Renee does is absolutely brilliant, and this was just genius. She was a genius in that movie. It was so good. The acting was so brilliant. She played Judy Garland. So you guys go watch that. I pretty much guarantee that if you have a Cancer moon, or you have prominent Cancer placements or fourth house prominent placements, I pretty much guarantee that you have a very strong connection to mother. It doesn't always mean that it's fantastic or good or blissful. You got to look at the aspects to know if it's a hard relationship or easy relationship, but somehow the mother in your life or the mother figure in your life is extraordinarily, extremely prominent. Leave me a comment below if you are a Cancer moon sign and if that is true, and describe your mother relationship a little bit. She may have been an enormous burden or even a wound to you, like Liza felt with her mom. She loved her mom, but she was so frustrated with her mom. And you may even be enmeshed or inseparable. You know, maybe she moved in with you and you could never get rid of her. Maybe she depends on you. Maybe you depend on her. Maybe you couldn't cut the umbilical cord. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe you have a codependency with mom, but you may probably feel overly obligated to her, even if you don't like her. Maybe she was your guide and your mentor and somebody who really helped you grow. But we really need to know the aspects and the placements. That's what will tell you the fullness of the story. But I can just tell you, if you have a Cancer moon or a lot of Cancerian placements, your mother is a prominent figure in describing your life. What I'd like to say is oftentimes I have found in the readings that I do, by the way, if you guys want a reading, click in the notes section below. You can get a reading with me or someone from Team Soul Navigation. They are brilliant and we would love to read your chart for you. Basically, the relationship to mother when you have a Cancer moon sign is oftentimes what I have found either extremely positive or extremely negative. It's either too much or too little. It's often the case with this moon placement, like you got too little love or you got too much love. Rarely is it just a perfect amount. So leave me a comment below and tell me if you can relate to that. One of the other harder parts of this placement is why they become so sensitive to their own feelings and to others. And the reason why is because they had to. They usually had very emotional mothers that required them to become very astute at reading the emotional roller coaster that was about to occur before it occurred, so they could start to predict the emotions of their family or of their mother or of the people in their lives that were emotionally volatile or unruly or unstable, so they could then survive their worlds. They had to read and learn how to read the temperature of the emotions of the house. And when your survival depends on that, you grow a big, giant, intuitive muscle. So this is true for whatever part of your chart has Cancer in it. This is the part of you that is highly intuitive. So if you have Cancer in the 12th house, I am positive you have a psychic capability, even if you don't have planets there. Another thing about Cancers is Cancers kind of always have an invisible umbilical cord connected to someone that they love deeply, even if that person isn't very nice to them. And it's hard for them to cut their attachments. It's pretty much impossible. I've seen a lot of Cancer energy people, Cancer moons, be hoarders, where they hoard all their childhood stuffed animals, all their childhood memories. They have all of their family's inheritance in the garage. It's very hard for them to cut family ties or cut themselves off of people that they love, family that they love, and heirlooms. They really are nostalgic, and they oftentimes live in the past more easily than they live in the present or the future. So Cancers can't be well when their loved ones, their family, or their parents are not well. They can be downright distraught. They can get terrible emotional stomach aches also if their relationships are off kilter. Tell me if that's true, Cancers. I really want to know if you feel that. It's hard for them to be in a state of pure emotional balance because they are so affected by the feelings and the energies of others. And so they're accused of being moody. They're not really moody. They're just dialed into everyone and everything around them, and they're highly aware of their own emotions, and they try to hide those emotions because those emotions that are so in constant flux, they create painfulness, bittersweetness, agony sometimes. They like to tamp them down and hide them in order to have control over them. Cancers will get their feelings massively hurt, especially when they feel betrayed or when they learn about somebody who they care about not caring about them as much as they do. Cancer moons find that moving around and having to make new friends and find new work or go to a new school or live in a new neighborhood absolutely traumatic. It is so hard for them. And if you have a Cancer moon child, and I'm just going to tell you, don't move around unnecessarily. Don't change out their comfort zones unless those comfort zones are really unhealthy or sick or toxic in some way. But they need roots. they need to plant roots. So wherever you have Cancer in your chart, that's where you're going to want to be firmly rooted. You know, they can suffer enormously from divorces and broken marriages. And one of the readings that I do is when I have maybe someone in my office that wants to get a divorce and I find out that they have children, I oftentimes ask, let me see your child's chart. And if their child's chart has a tremendous amount of Cancer in it, oftentimes I tell them, I'm not positive your child is really gonna thrive or bounce back or do quite well. And then we talk about it from there. But Cancer children and Cancer moon children don't survive divorce very well. It's very, very traumatic. So if you're in that situation, I highly recommend you get a reading. If my child was a Cancer moon child or a Cancer moon and I wanted to get a divorce, my God, I would be in such conflict over if I should just suck it up and make the best of it, or if I really should get a divorce. Cancer moon children just, they don't do well in that situation. So if you are a parent, it's really important to know if you're dealing with a Cancer moon child, because this is an extraordinarily sensitive child. I will also say, I don't believe in spanking, but if you spank your Cancer child or your Cancer moon child, the chances are that they will not survive that, at least not well. That will torture them and torment them if you spank them or physically hurt them. Even emotional, verbal abuse is awful for a Cancer child. I'm not saying the other children deserve it by any means. I don't believe in spanking. I think it is trauma for all children, but it's almost unsurvivable for a Cancer moon child. As I mentioned, Cancer moons are healers, and this is a big part of their destiny. They are here to heal their own hearts, their own lives, their own psyches, their own minds. And when they find out that they can do that, then they begin to start wanting to heal others in the outside world. This is such a powerful gift to have, and this is their calling. You will find a lot of them in healing professions. Are you a Cancer moon? And what is your experience with healing others? Do you just do it as a part-time hobby inside your relationships, or do you actually get paid to do it? They have their finger playing the strings of melancholy. They are in touch with sorrow. They are in touch with the bittersweet pieces of life, and they can easily see what is wrong with other people. What is the other person suffering from? And that is how and why they go so deep. They are the deep intuitive feelers of the zodiac. In order to survive the suffering souls that sort of leech onto them like vampires, they attract a lot of vampires because they have this healing, nurturing, compassionate, I feel sorry for you ability. They have to have alone time. They absolutely have to have their own nest, their own cocoon, and they have to have a place, just like Pisces, to recharge their batteries. And Scorpio needs that too. All the water signs do. They sabotage themselves by sort of chronically living in the state of fear, being afraid to express themselves, being afraid to connect with others, being afraid to show their truth selves, just like the crab with the hard shell, being afraid that they're too strong, they're too bold, being afraid to ask for what they really want. They can be afraid to speak up. They can be afraid to raise their hand and ask a dumb question. They're afraid to be perceived as being selfish, to put themselves first. They hide their truths and hide their desires. And so they sort of suffer in a silence over this. And this is ultimately how they'll ruin their lives. If they're going to ruin their lives, they end up hiding, and they end up taking care of everyone but themselves, and they end up breaking down over this. And oftentimes they end up either binge eating or binge drinking to get their emotional needs met, because at the end of the day, a lot like Capricorn, they don't want to ask for what they need. And that's how they sabotage themselves. And if you know a destructive Cancer in your life, will you please, you can write about them anonymously, but leave their story down below and share with everybody. Let's build a gorgeous Cancerian community. I already have one. You guys are so wonderful on my channel. And you guys should read the comments in all the Cancer videos because they're really quite profound. Cancers are profound. But if you have seen a destructive Cancer, will you write about it? My best friend when I was a little girl was a Cancer. cancer, and so was his mother. And they both died within 1 week of each other. It was so sad. I grew up with them. They were my next door neighbors, and they took care of me, and he was my best friend. They both died of alcoholism, and they both hid their needs and their wants, and they both chronically lived in service to others. And it is just so sad. It still breaks my heart to this day. So the Cancer needs to learn that his or her or their destined contract is just begging them to get vulnerable and to take emotional risks, of course, with discernment and with caution, but to expose themselves to souls that deserve them. Yeah. It's like learn to be discerning, but also learn to risk it all to connect with another, to access love. This is so hard for them to do. They like to avoid the very feeling of vulnerability, and they don't trust that others won't hurt them. Think of the sensitive crab. They sometimes are so guarded and so self-defensive. Is your Cancer defensive? Yeah. I don't know one that's not. And so protective that they end up feeling quite alone, never really coming out into the world to build the life or grow the life that they really want, that they really desire, and that they really deserve. You know, they can see where life is quite dangerous in words and emotions, and they're not going to love just anyone. They do love big, but they don't love easily, because they know all too well from their moms and from what happened to them 0 to 12 years old that love is a very, very dangerous game. It's not easy for a Cancer to do, but when a Cancer says, I love you, trust me, believe them, they mean it. Cancers feel everything. I mean everything. They have the biggest heart, the deepest heart, the most feeling heart of the entire zodiac. That's both their vice and their virtue. That is their biggest gift and their biggest blessing. But it oftentimes bites them in the... If you're a Cancer and you can relate, tell me. And oh my gosh, you guys, I hope that you have already gotten my starter package on my soulnavigation.com site. You can just click the shop tab. And if you've already gotten the deep dive natal report and your natal chart, that's what the starter package is, then you need to go get the advanced Astro Gold package. It is so, so good. And you'll understand all your chart rulers, which is so, so important in astrology. You will love it. It is so, so good. Yes. And join my super supporter community. You guys will love it. You'll get all my behind the scenes secret videos. If you're a superstar super supporter, it's guaranteed that you're going to get a mini reading in my videos. And I'm so excited that we're growing the program. Back to Cancers. They're here to learn how to nurture themselves. That's a big portion of their healing work. And they're here to learn to approach life. And they're not even learning. They're just capable of this with deep compassion for others and really for all living things. And they must have a deep connectiveness to family in some sort of way, a family that makes them feel safe, makes them feel loved, makes them feel secure, makes them feel nurtured. They need people in their lives that they can count on. And if you are a Cancer, tell me right now, who can you count on in your life? Because if you are a Cancer with no one to count on, that is a very painful life. Remember, people, these are not Aquarians. No, I'm going to give you 5 or 6 things that Cancers or people with enormous Cancer energy in their chart really need in their lives to thrive. So the first one I would say is a deep and totally safe emotional connection to someone or something that makes them feel like they really belong and that they are loved. The second thing I would say is financial security is very important for Cancers because that is what makes them feel safe, like they are going to have food to eat and a roof over their head as long as they are financially secure. Number 3, I would say, is a safe and beautiful sacred space that they can call home. Number 4, I would say would be to have a family or a sense of family, either kids, parents, dogs, cats, a horse, a rabbit, it doesn't matter. They usually have to have an animal to nurture in their life. But I would say the concept of family is absolutely at the core for them. They need people or animals, things to take care of, to nurture, and to help heal. Number 5, I would say, would be a fulfilling job where they can pour their nurturing, healing energy into something that makes them feel important and valuable to others. And number 6, I would say a positive mother relationship in some way, shape, or form. And if they can't have a positive relationship to their mother, then I would say it would be equally as important to heal the mother wound before the end of their life. They've got to get their mama right, at least in their heart or in their psyche. And if they can't get their mama right in reality, well, then their perception does. And that's going to take a lot of forgiveness work. And if you are a Cancer moon person and you have a terrible relationship with your mom, come get a reading from me or anybody on my team at Team Soul Navigation. It's so critical that you get your mom right in your head. And on to my big secret. Cancer moons are not really moody, but they are ruled by the moon. And the moon is the most important planet in their chart and by transit. The moon changes every 2.5 days per sign. It is the fastest moving luminary in the chart. When the moon changes signs, it is going to affect your Cancer person. And your Cancer person, if they have a Cancer sun, moon, or rising, this moon changing every 2.5 days is going to affect the Cancerian part of your chart, but it is going to be extraordinarily profound and create extraordinary sensitivity to the Cancer moon, sun, or rising person. So tell me where Cancer is in your chart. What house is it in? And do you have prominent planets in Cancer? And do you have the sun, moon, or rising there? And if so, tell me if you can really relate to this. I could probably talk for another 8 hours. I probably need to do a part 2, 3, and 4 for this sign because there's just so much more there. But I hope that this does give you the profound understanding of the depth and the sensitivity to the Cancerian moon sign. And if you do have a Cancer in your life, be extra thoughtful with them, be extra sensitive with them, because while they might not show it to you underneath their hard shell, underneath all of that is the most tender human on the planet. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are enjoying my moon series. I love to know all your comments. Please leave me a comment, share, and like my video, and I will see you here next Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Bye for now. Come check us out at soulnavigation.com.